Shalom, all praise to Yahweh Hashem Yahshua, Hashem HaKadosh, double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, rule well, and Shalom to all the brothers doing the work, sharing in truth. Just a quick one to once again show how these Maxine certificates, these things are getting pushed out. And it's funny because it's this is mainly focused on the states, because like I think they've said, well, I think most of the governments have said like, oh, they're not gonna make it like a federal, or ain't gonna come from the top down, basically enforcing the Maxine passports. Well, I think there's like state Israel's doing it, maybe Cyprus, I think Greece, a few of the places where they do they're basically what the fuck is it called? So what I'm looking for. Tourist destinations, they're kind of on it because why? They're basically just gonna say, oh, okay, yeah, blah blah blah. They comply to that, then they get taken off the red list for travel, so they get back to getting them tourist bucks. That's why they're on it. But for like EU and well, actually no, I think the EU, they just ruled. But originally they said like, oh yeah, they're not gonna make it mandatory. They're just gonna set a standard by which people can enforce it if they want, and that's kind of the angle they're using. Oh, it's, if you want, you can go in it. But then in reality, it's getting pushed out because there's what vaccine requirements spread in US, sowing concern on overreach. C19 vaccination requirements are fast becoming facts of life in the US, spreading business by business, even as politicians and privacy advocates rail against them. Brown, Notre Dame, and Rutgers are among universities warning students and staff they'll need shots in order to return to campus this fall. Some sports teams are demanding proof of vaccination or negative tests, so basically it's participating in society. And that's how you know this thing's it's laying the groundwork for the chip. Because why? It's for you to go and participate and do things within it, then you're required to get it. It's required. Otherwise, you ain't gonna be able to function. Because there's what? So, and the main thing is that now they're doing it for like the entertainment. But then what? It's like public transport and like going to banks, all those kinds of things. That's when it's gonna become, the squeeze is gonna be felt. So it says what? Some sports teams demanding proof of vaccinations or a negative test from fans as arenas reopen. Want to see your favorite band play indoors in California? At bigger venues, the same rules apply. A Houston hospital chain recently orders 26,000 employees to get vaccinated. So yeah, that's why it's like, it's getting pushed. It's another matter how people prove they've had their shots or are C-free. Republican politicians and privacy advocates are bristling over so-called vaccination passports, with some states moving to restrict their use. Given the fraught politics, many companies are not necessarily wanting to be first in their sector to take the plunge, said Carmel Shakar, executive director of the Petrie Flom Center for Health Law Policy, Biotechnology and Bioethics at Harvard Law School. Still, we're going to see employers start to require vaccinations if you want to come into the office, if you will have a public-facing job. Yeah, so it's getting enforced, and that's what it's going to watch it be like. Okay, you want to go to the hospital, you're gonna have to do. Well, I don't even know. I ain't even been near the hospital, so I don't know if they've applied that yet. But then what? They'll probably, it will get to the point and they might just be like, hey, look, you're gonna be required to test. That's really why this thing ain't been they ain't really let up on this whole C19 situation, because it's like evidently clear whatever Esau's doing as far as what's the word I'm looking for? The actions that these governments are taking, like the lockdowns, all these restrictions, it's not really it's not doing anything. Like it's all that's really been gleaned from it is what is getting the minds of the people, and which has been successful, and then just getting them conditioned to this form of existence, and then getting used to all these restrictions and regulations, and then it's gonna when the mark comes in, the resistance is gonna be less, and that's what is really wearing down that resistance, man. So this can get pushed out, because most people, like the general public, are finally they've been in a stupor for like a year, but they're finally realizing maybe how the fuck is this meant to help in the long term? But it's it's too late now that everyone's all adjusted to it, man. Everyone keeps a mask in their pocket. Everyone's socially distancing, all these different things. It's just become the normal, that new normal. So what? that's it's a raging success. The vaccine passport's getting pushed out without the government even having to be heavy-handed. So that's why it's gradually over time, that gradualism, people are eating it. And where's it going to? It's the thing is these what's the word? These these powers that the government's getting, because even like what the fuck are they called? Germany is going into a fresh lockdown that no one even fucking wanted and was not meant to happen, and then it's just like they're gaining even more power. Like they're saying, okay, we're switching it from local people being able to choose to a federal level, where it's from the top down, they can just decide what the rules are. So that's what all these governments are doing. They're basically passing legislation, that policy, to get them that control, so that and it's not going to be let up. Just like with any time this legislation's passed to strip people of what them rights that they believed they had, which were really privileges that were allowed, then what they're it's not been let up. It's been compounded over time. So yeah, just a quick one, man. I'll leave it there. Shalom.